Little things here and there, adjust everything. It's Friday night, y'all. It's 5 after 10. Y'all know what time it is. It's time for the new norm 2.0 with your boy Mo Delgado. Which, as you see, is part of the title down there. It says, Sexiest Man in the Chair. Accept it, don't hate it. It's the truth. Well, hopefully everybody's well. It's a great day wherever you are. As long as you're alive, you're amongst loved ones. It's most important always. So, in great appreciation, we say thank you to everyone who's watching. And hopefully today is an eventful day for you. Get some information about some things that are going on. And we talk about different things here on the new norm 2.0. Just in case you're just stumbling onto the new norm 2.0, we're the internet-based talk show where we talk about current events, worldwide issues, and things like this that normally affect and impact the average person. New Norm was created 2020 based on the pandemic itself. When we got shut in, we found a new way to communicate with the world. And we thought, why not try to do the best we can to be an asset to the world by getting as much information as we can to the general public and making sure the information is helpful. Because these days, information seems to be at a premium, especially valid information. So as we continue on, we're hoping that you enjoy your stay here. I'm your boy Mo Delgado. I'm the host. My man Adrian, I'm wondering whether he'll be available for us because from what I saw a little earlier, it seems like he had taken a trip somewhere and he may be in a far out distance, but we hope to see him. Hopefully he'll tap in. And forgive me for this camera situation because I want to make sure everything is good. I'm not coming out crooked because the screen is extremely important. And this dog is always tapping in my leg. I think my dog wants to be part of the show, even more so, because he's desperately trying to get up here. Now you can wait, Pat. You got to wait. So we're going to talk soup, or as I say, talk shop in a few seconds. But we're hoping that you have had a great weekend or a great week. And now that we're on the Friday, oh, wow. Seems like Facebook has integrated a new system for those that may not necessarily, who may be hearing impaired. Kind of cool, Facebook. I'll give it to you. All right, cool. So, you're watching it on Facebook and you're just looking at it. Welcome, y'all. So, we're going to move on a little forward. Let's talk a little about the news. Extremely important how things seems to be developing. Now, in the news today, one of the hottest topics that, of course, we talk about here on the show is the pandemic. The pandemic. SARS-CoV-19 is an extremely impactful and dangerous element that we have had to adjust to, not only here in the United States, but worldwide. Recently, CDC and WHO, the World Health Organization, have gone on a rampant attempt to inform the world how important it is to be vaccinated because of the way that Omicron is the latest variant, but not the last variant, because word has it, there's one that's stirring up right now. I'm not going to say what region of the world, but let's just say that it's a pretty popular place. So there's a variant that seems to be developing or growing. From the time we don't know how impactful, how dangerous, how it would impact you and I as human beings or any other being on the planet. So we're going to pay attention to what we have in front of us, the Omicron. Omicron is said to now being moving so aggressive that the question that's posed is, are human beings able to adapt to Omicron fast enough to be able to save lives? Omicron, we know, is comprised of um, all the elements of SARS. The only thing that's really makes it even more dangerous is that it spreads faster. And because it spreads faster, more people can succumb to it. And then the elements of it attaching itself to a host and moving more or moving the way it normally does, the way the Delta variant and other variants before that, Alpha and Beta, had traveled. Now Omicron seems to be moving even more rapid, utilizing hosts and other forms of travel to be able to go from one person to the next. It's extremely dangerous. So now that we're in the winter season, and then the impacts on health that the winter season does to most people, um, respiratory issues at times, cold weather, people who are in transitory situations, um, it's not necessarily friendly on an average basis. And now the cold weather seems to be developing, growing. Even now, the risks of other types of weather coming, as we saw in Kentucky with all those different tornadoes, even the four-state crawling tornado that was just made a record. It's the first time in history that a tornado has gone through 4 states. It traveled so far and it was so large. It was a level 5 um, tornado. And if you've not seen, it basically demolished many towns and many people have lost their lives, especially the assets, but the lives, more importantly, have been lost. So with all that, how the climate is being impacted, now the CDC and the World Health Organization is looking at how these growing elements in the climate itself could affect COVID-19 and how it could affect its mobility and its spreading. We know that COVID-19 sometimes travels and stays on um, surfaces that are considered non-porous, um, surfaces like marble, like plastic, things like this. Like in the very, very beginning, we were told that it was best that we continued to wipe down everything that we brought in our homes, make sure we kept our hands to ourselves, make sure that any surface that we may have come in contact could be potentially a host for the SARS-CoV-19 virus. So as we're moving closer to the new year, the risk that New Year's brings. Traditionally, worldwide, New Year's have been a really festive event. It's when we introduce the new year with hopes of new things and a greater chance for a better tomorrow. Um, but it also brings millions of people together in really tight spaces. And then at times, people are being real amicable, amorous, kissing each other, doing all kinds of freak nasty shit all over the world. We know how they are. And that's okay. If that's what you want to do, you're a grown adult, do it. However, in your doing so, you can potentially put yourself and everybody else in harm's way. Because Omicron could be being carried and you least expect it, and you're going to an area that you're not fully familiar with, and boom, you have a widespread. So as we're getting closer to New Year's, that's the biggest concern now from the World Health Organization is how can we help to curb the potential of such a dynamic virus getting an opportunity to spread to so many people at one short time. Other nations in the world are looking to be even more aggressive. It has been said that England is looking to see what it can to shut its doors again. France is doing the same thing. Certain countries in Africa, Southeast Asia, Korea, even Australia, and New Zealand. New Zealand was, I think, the first nation in the world to close its borders to everyone. And they did a successful job protecting many of their citizens. A lot of people there were able to enjoy a normal life during the time of pandemic was affecting the rest of the world. However, because of the proximity of where they live and how remote they are to a lot of parts of the world, a lot of things have to be delivered, and that potentially created an issue at the ports for them to be able to get supplies that they need to maintain as a country where it's located and its dependency on the mainland. So when they open their doors, boom, here goes a spread. So we don't know how it's going to go, but nations are very much on alert right now, trying to make sure that whoever it is out there in the world that could be carrying Omicron, that you can be stopped, it can be contained, and the spread does not continue any further than that person found. We don't know how successful it is because you know how nasty people out here do all kinds of stuff, from blowing snot rockets, touching each other, putting their hands in places that shouldn't be in public or anywhere, unless you're in private. That's up to you, you know. But people do what they want to do, and New Year's Eve seems to be a major target for people's excuse for bad behavior. So let that bad behavior not become deadly behavior. We're hoping to keep everybody in prayers and making sure that they're ready to be able to handle it. Whatever it takes, make sure you maintain your life and protect the lives of the people you love and all the people around you. With that being said, happy holidays. We are shortly looking to the holiday season. It is the 17th of December, which virtually says that we have a week before Christmas. 1 week, 7 days before America celebrates the Christmas or New Year, Christmas Eve. So you have virtually a week to go out there and buy the stuff that your children truly don't need. And then you can continue to overcompensate in their lives by continuously buying stuff for them, to stockpile in the homes, to basically supply them a superficial sense of love and worthiness. And you can continue being such a fabulous parent instead of just spending time with them. How about get a recipe, come to the kitchen? How about share the moment of making cookies? Watch some funny videos on TV. Take out a board game. How about working on that? That might be very much more cheaper. Much more cheaper. I don't know if that's actually correct, but forgive me. That could be a better option in the world than going out there trying to overcompensate by these highly expensive items, thinking that you're actually going to bring more value into their lives. If you truly appreciate your children or the loved ones that you are, it's not the dollar amount of things that you buy. It is the love that you share with them. Because it's extremely important. That's one thing that can't be done, is you can't buy love. And don't get me wrong, some people think buying love is an easy commodity that you can purchase. Because some folks just want to be able to go out there and put a price tag on everything. As long as they get their money, they're willing to do whatever it is that you want them to do, however it is, because that's what's important to them. Well, it's really sad, because there are a lot of people who think that they can do that. And that's not necessarily a good thing for us to continue to hold on to that kind of animosity, that kind of lack of love. Whatever the situation is, I think we need to do a better job, y'all. We really need to do a better job. What's up, Santos? And I see my nephew. Happy belated birthday to my wonderful nephew. So keep this in mind, everybody. Money is one of the things that we need at times to be able to manage life, to be able to provide some of the things that we need. However, we don't put value in the things properly. And sometimes we lose the value in the process around money. It's not the money per se, it's the time that was involved to create that money, to be able to acquire that money. Was your time valuable enough that you were willing to waste it on something to someone who really, truly won't necessarily appreciate that? Think about that. You're spending $500 on a PlayStation or Xbox or something like that. Even nowadays, you see young ladies getting bought these Louis Vuitton bags at an early age. I've even seen one person that it blew my mind, but apparently there's a set of parents out there planning on buying their 9-year-old child an expensive, very, very expensive, I think it's the most expensive pocketbook, because they think their queen is deserving of it. And all I kept thinking was, they're more concerned about the pocketbook than what's not in that pocketbook, which is education in the future. I don't know. We got to think about that, y'all. Holiday season. It's extremely important to remember. I guess to me, one of the most essential items of the holiday season is the chance and opportunity to spend time with the people that you love. being festive, or in my case, being goofy, and enjoy yourselves for what little time you have left on this planet. And this is not to wish any bad tidings on anyone. I want you to live a long, prosperous life. Long, long, prosperous life. But in the meantime, let's live a quality life. And quality isn't necessarily measured by the cost, but the quality is definitely the value system that you need to consider about your own life. Quality of life is extremely important. So I suggest to you, get in touch with yourself. Get in touch with the people that you love. Spend some time with them. And for my Boricuas out there, this is the perfect time to go out there and get the pots and pans beat on it. Start that song, y parranda, bro. Parranda like we used to do, like the traditions of our fathers and our fathers' fathers and fathers before that used to do. Very poorly, we'd go spend time visiting family members, friends, people who didn't know us. Bring music and joy with you from home to home. And then when you're there, spend some time with them, give them opportunity to enjoy this home. They would offer a little food for you, something to drink on your path. And then you travel on to the next opportunity of being able to spread that love to someone else. And this would happen from house to house for miles and continuously for at least a month. So when folks look at us, the Boricuas and Puerto Ricans out there, and they know we know how to have a good time. This is tradition to us to show a little bit of love. It's not the value, the dollar value, but it's the value in the love that you share with one another. So I'm kind of saddened because that tradition seems to be dying in our communities. However, still opportunities out there, y'all. Santos, if you know somebody that plays a guitar, a horn, cuatro, whatever the situation is, man, why don't you encourage them to break out some songs, man? Break out some songs. Let's do this like we used to. And in case you have never really had the opportunity to enjoy spreading love that way, Christmas carols is a good example of how America's tried to do what we did over in the islands, even though it was kind of soggy, but it's not like us, it's like bland. But it's not your fault you guys are bland, you know what I'm saying? You don't have the same type of flavor we do. But it's still a good intention, and it's still a good vehicle of sharing love and spreading love to those around the world. Because it's extremely important. As life continues to get tough, we need to make sure that we can rejuvenate in any possible way we can, as often as we can, to remind ourselves that we are appreciated, because life is not promised. Tomorrow is not promised. So while we're here today, let's have some good times and let's spread some love and cheer. So let me get off my soapbox for now, but I just wanted to talk a little bit about that because now holiday season means something totally different to everyone, because the effects and things that surround you, as I always say to people that know me, life gets in the way. Truth is, life gets hard. And life getting in the way can sort of prevent you from being able to get that true holiday spirit. It's not that older white guy with the beard and the red suit. It's not the Christmas carols that you sing, although they help. It's not the gifts that you give, other than your time as a gift. The time that you spend with the intent to share love, with the intent to enjoy one another, that is spreading love to those around the world. That is the gift that keeps on giving. So, folks, if you can, take that opportunity and spread some love, y'all. Spread love. Ba, ba, da. Anyway, that was my college anthem back in the day. When I went to college, my nickname was Mo Love. So, one of the things I would do is get my boys king, and then would rock up and they might throw my anthem on. Spread love. That was my thing. Because more love is truly what we need. So, let me go on a little bit more about things that are in the news. In addition to, I don't know if you saw, but recently, Kentucky and the greater region of the, I guess, center-eastern portion of America, the southeast, closer to the Bible Belt, experienced a massive flow of climate change. You saw hail, you saw tornadoes, blizzards, temporary blizzards. Did you see Hawaii? Hawaii experienced a blizzard. And then shortly after that, there was all kinds of rainfall, and there was mudslides and things like this. Things are kind of goofy all over the planet, y'all. So pay attention and then do what you can to enjoy what you have. Moving forward, remember this weather is nothing to play with. If you saw how news reports have basically stated how in Kentucky, a large portion of that state got slammed by that weather anomaly, and in their being slammed, um, you get to see the Mother Nature is nothing to play with, y'all. It's definitely nothing to play with. Um, I'm gonna try to get you something to look at. Uh, and it was a website I was trying to get here called Weatherbell. Um, Weatherbell is a great website being used by one of my now favorite weather analysts and forecasters. His name is Ryan Hall, and he has his website called Ryan Hall, y'all. Very entertaining and very informative. He is the only guy that breaks down things in a way like that to make sense. So you could really, if you pay attention, you can start forecasting or looking at weather in a more astute way so you'll understand how weather anomalies are. And you can make or propose a better forecast for yourself in your region. So Ryan was basically talking about how that weather came up and how you saw the first time straight lines in weather patterns, something you haven't seen so in ever. Hot pressure coming in from the Caribbean, pushing away a lot of this cold weather. They said on the 20th of December, there should be a big moisture pool over top of New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania, certain parts. And it depends on how quick the upper pressure leaves the lower pressure to itself. If the pressure above the clouds is strong enough, it'll continue to push down and won't allow it to grow that way, so you won't see the potential of snow. However, if it lets up and the lower pressure and temperatures are allowed to stir up some more, there's a potential of sleet. And depends on how quick it moves, it could turn into snow. So it's the 20th. So weather is extremely important for you guys to pay attention because as we move day by day, have to pay attention. If the weather comes on, there's a potential for this virus to spread even more. People who don't want to get affected by weather sometimes get caught in regions or areas where there's a big population of people, say in a mall, because it's bad weather and people feeling kind of fever, so you run to a mall. Okay, great. You run to a mall and no one's masked up, and that does what? Puts you in potential harm. So, things to consider. We get a sip. That's my crack. Gotta get rid of it. Anyway, um, pay attention to how the weather is developing. Ryan Hall spoke about how they're not only starting to change, the weather patterns are starting to fluster around. There's a very large um, weather pattern developing in the upper Arctic region off of Russia. That the way the flow is coming, the Canadian flow, if it dips down enough, we should see some amazing amounts of water, of course, in the northeast region of the world. But potentially, if the temperature goes on, we should see a snowfall and or a blizzard. So we're talking about the 20, what did you say, 23rd to 26th? That's the window. So we don't know if it's going to be a white Christmas per se, but it might be a pain in the ass end of the year for all of us. So pay attention to the weather, y'all. Let me see what else we were talking about. Oh, just recently, if people are paying attention to the Ghislaine Maxwell case, you notice that you're not going to see too much of that case taken on, right? I wonder why. Because such a large population of their clientele were individuals involved in media. And how do you prevent from information spreading? By doing what? Controlling the media. So Ghislaine Maxwell was recently approached by the judge or the court clerk at that time to disclose her entire listing of top level executives in the media. And her lawyers at that time were attempting to withhold a lot of this information. But as they're moving closer, this information might expose how a lot of these major news sources, a lot of the companies, parent companies that are involved, including NBC Universal, some of the executives may be part of her clientele, may be the reason why information has been um, withheld from the general populace. So Ghislaine Maxwell has a lot of I guess she's got that red button power right now because she can hit it and it'll turn the lights out on many, many rich, wealthy people who were doing really bad things, dealing with children. So that's one of the topics hopefully we'll talk about a little later on, the sexualization of children and how we've allowed children to become even larger targets for people who are involved in pedophilia, um, and or people who don't see a problem with children um, involved in sexual activities at an early age. So we'll talk a little bit about that and find out just in general questions. Why do you think America or the world today has seemed to be falling into this vortex of sexualization and allowing children to be targeted so easily? As we see videos and music videos being one of the access points of so many people who can visually see sexuality or visually see the sexual innuendos being presented in marketing, marketed that way for music and or entertainment. You get to see how just with uh, a stroke of the brush, makeup wise, some boosting of body parts using computer animated graphics, you can create an image that could feed the fantasy of many a sick person. So we'll hopefully have a conversation a bit about that as we go along. It is 10:30 p.m. and we'll talk a little bit about more about the news. The other discussion that seems to be going on, and still the question is, where are all the shipping containers that have been sitting off the ports of Houston, Los Angeles? Where have they been? Where are they? Are they finally loaded, or is it still goes on? Well, as the rush to continue going, as you saw in LA County, in the city of Los Angeles, and in Houston, the docks there integrated a 24-hour loading and unloading docking period, which gave them the ability to be able to thoroughly unload all of the ships that were dwindling around outside of their ports, being able to unload them so shipments can go out to everyone all over, those people who may be looking for things from items from offshore. And again, I'll emphasize the only areas in merchandise that were problematic were the areas of merchandise being shipped in from other countries, specifically China. We had to wait a long period of time for things that were shipped through the water ports wise to come into the United States. Things that are just regional, something that's continental, didn't have to worry about getting shipped. You just on the roads or rails. And they saw a little bit more frequency being able to deliver. The other stuff is now being shipped out. As you noticed, I don't know if you've noticed, but I know I've noticed that the delivery system has also increased. Also, the time frame is no longer from 10 o'clock to 2 o'clock. Now it's just from anywhere from 7 o'clock in the morning to 10 o'clock at night, and it's 7 days a week now that you see it. I've had deliveries being done at the crack of dawn. And then watching things come on Sunday, coming delivered on days that are traditionally closed. So it's getting out there, y'all. Your supplies and things that you've been ordering for a long time, that you've been waiting, that's been shipped from China. You know, that amazing new electric vehicle that you found on the internet that you want, you think is cool, and it's a Tesla breaker. It'll be delivered. Those fancy sex toys that you've been delivering coming out of Wuhan, China. Hey, man, those things are coming your way. So hopefully you'll enjoy them. Merry Christmas. Jingle bells. So pay attention as you got going on, y'all, folks, because there's a lot of things that may have been delivered that have gone through a lot of toxic environments. And because the containers ain't necessarily, the atmospheres are not enclosed and protected. You don't know what kind of bacteria may have been developing on the ships, and as they were being delivered, so was that bacteria. So be careful, y'all. Be careful. More as we talk about the different issues that are going on, we see a lot of animosity being developed amongst Congress. One of the issues right now is Rick Perry. There's a discussion how Rick Perry was involved in trying to influence some other elected officials to change their votes. So he was lobbying to change their votes, which is not illegal. It's just the question is, was Mr. Perry apparently threatening these individuals physically or threatening harm for some odd way, either physically or financial harm, because that's what happens so often a lot with elected officials also. They're threatened and or offered benefits, financial or physical, for their votes. So that's something that we need to consider, we need to look at, because the animosity that continues to develop in the United States Congress and in the House of Representatives is demonstrative to the atmosphere that we have now. That includes the Trump phenomenon. It's not solely because of the Trump phenomenon, but it includes the Trump phenomenon. Remember, racism didn't just pop up. Racism didn't just pop up with Trump. It's been here for decades, if not eons. It's always been some sort of form of animosity that people choose to use race or what's significantly in front of us as the differences to be good enough to be vitriolic to one another, or to want or harm the next person, or feel like you need to be dominant over the next person, fearful that person may execute dominance over you, then you execute dominance over them quickly. It is, in essence, the teachings being made right now in police academies all across America, how to encapsulate a critical crisis, chaotic atmosphere. When things get heightened, you heighten above it. Your actions go above it, even more aggressive, so you can get more control of it. This is the mentality of America in general. When things get rough, you get tougher and you keep pushing. Someone whips out a butter knife, you whip out an AK-47 and say it's a collector's item, right? That's how America seems to function. Well, whatever it is, pay attention as things go on. Make sure you're not a target of stupidity or a target of any sort. Be intelligent, be alive, stay alive, and make the right choice. So, as news continues to come in, some of the dilemmas that we're talking about, I'm trying to get my notes, because I know there were some things that extremely important that we wanted to talk about this Friday, because as we're moving on, it may be too late as we watch people people passing away. One of the things that's one of the discussions that recently was had is the medical or pharmaceutical industry prepared to deal with this stuff? Big pharma has been one of the biggest, I guess, support systems to help defend us against this virus. But then there's still the suspicion that Big Pharma may have been involved in one aspect or another in the development of this virus that we've had to fight against. So, are they prepared to be able to deal with this type of illness and whatever's coming down the pipeline? Because the way things have gone, the truth of the matter is that our environment, our food, our behaviors have put us some sort of decay and or delay to our immune systems. More of us are becoming more immune deficient. And now as we go on, suspicions are having, reports are coming in that this vaccine could be affecting people's immune system as well. We don't know how true it is to what it may not be anything, just a small cluster of individuals that may have faced it. Hopefully that's what it is, a small cluster and not an ongoing risk for all of us out here. But there is a small amount of individuals that are considering that their immune system, the immune system's been attacked by some elements of the booster. So, of course, the discussion is: was it a Johnson & Johnson booster? Which one was it? Was it a fully administered or what have you? And again, this is the odd thing. CDC is also saying that Pfizer and Moderna are the more credible ones, that you shouldn't use Johnson & Johnson. However, these are the same people that were involved in the process initially when the United States was considering emergency usage, the EU license or agreement with the United States to be able to vaccinate they gave Johnson & Johnson their opportunities by allowing them the temporary EU status, then gave them permanent status. How do you do that when you know that these people are not supplying the best product? How that product may, in fact, endanger more people than help people. That's the crazy way Big Pharma is affecting and or harming our great community here in the United States and Big Pharma all around the world. It's really crazy how things continue to fall apart, and it seems the only impetus behind it is the only shining benefits to this whole thing is for Big Pharma to gain financial windfalls. When Pfizer and Moderna itself, the vaccines are coming out, there's the parent companies that own the vaccines and distributing these vaccines are making a killing. And they're making wealthy people even more wealthier. The investors that have shares in the company are becoming extremely wealthy. And this pandemic, oddly enough, has made more billionaires. And I guess the next level would be trillionaires. Jeff Bezos has his own level, Bezonaire or whatever the situation, I think. But it's creating these psychotically wealthy individuals. We're talking about crazy, stupid, wealthy, that they could burn all the money on the planet and still be too wealthy for everyone else. They could give everyone on the planet $1 million and still be the wealthiest people on the planet. These are the kind of people out there. And this process is making even more people wealthy, but it's also leaving a lot more people poor and or borderline poor, and it's dangerous. Poverty continues to show its ugly head. It impacts the world. The food levels, as they said, are starting to be impacted by the lack of shipping, the lack of management the way it's had before. People who normally work the fields are no longer working the fields to the same degree because of COVID and the impacts of the virus hurting so many people in the fields and around the fields. So we're having levels of food shortages all over, different types of food shortages. So these things impact society, and society, unfortunately, will feel a little tighter and a little more uncomfortable. And as we go on, the biggest risk to all this outside of the physical realm is the psychological realm. There's going to be people who are being affected even more so. We're seeing a larger group of individuals now, a greater population, worldwide population, that are turning to drugs to be able to cope through this hard time, the pandemic. And they're using opioids and other things that they can take orally, ingesting these drugs to get them to help them to cope. I'm seeing now there's more exposure on mushrooms and the barbiturates of I can't exactly remember the term, but how it affects and impacts the mind and how people are looking for those as an escape from the pressures of COVID-19 and the hardships that COVID-19 has put upon all us all, and how we tend to do so. Another coping mechanism being affected by the world. So pay attention, y'all. Pay attention. And in addition, pay attention, please. If you're feeling squeezed, reach out for some help. There's a lot of programs out here. If you're not in the ability, or if you're not capable to pay for some therapy on your own, there's enough agencies that give it to you. If not on a pay scale, a sliding pay scale, they grant you free because of the financial donors or sponsorships that they've already acclaimed or have already gotten from before. So we'll see how that goes. But if you're feeling any kind of pressure, if you're feeling kind of tight, your mind, you're not able to cope with some things, you're finding yourself feeling hopeless, you're crying a lot of times, your emotions jump from one side of the spectrum to the next spectrum in seconds, you're triggered very easily, you're looking at people in different ways, and most of the times it could be the smallest things that you interpret in one way or the other. If any of those factors are true in your life, seek some help. Seek some help. There is some help out there. And if not, if you don't want to go through traditional forms of getting help, use the internet, the social media that we have all succumbed to in one aspect or another, or had to succumb to, utilize it on your behalf. There's no reason why you couldn't go live and say, I need help. I need someone to talk to. There'll be someone, trust me, if not many people, willing to come on live and talk with you just so you can feel better about yourself and just to help you crawl back further away from the edge than you presently are. Just trust in human beings. We are kind creatures. Not all of us, because some of us is just a bunch of bloodthirsty assholes, of course. But the majority of us are kind people, and we want to be helpful. And if there's something that we can do to help you from jumping off that ledge, we will do it. Just say so. So I welcome you all to entertain that conversation. And for any of you out there may have run into a situation where you're feeling depressed, hopeless, or what have you, just seek and you will find. There are people out here willing to help you. There's a lot more people, which is a wonderful concept. A lot more people are looking into being better servants of one another, being servants of each other, serving each other in the capacity of either psychology, psychiatry, or physical medicine. So there's a lot. Even my own son thinking about being a nurse. And you would think years ago he'd probably be ridiculed. But no, it's a very respectable job for a man or anyone who's ever done it before. So if anyone's looking to be a greater servant, please do so. There's some help for you also. Because students you got to go through a lot of hardships and a lot of sacrificing to be able to get to that end result. And we send our prayers to anyone out there who's looking to do so, because it's not easy. And it's not made to be easy for you. Some people enjoy the yellow brick road. Some of us have to travel through the dirt fields to be able to get to something that we consider road, but sure as ain't gold for us. But you're strong. You come from a stock of warriors. So fight through the dilemmas that you seem to be going through. Seek the help that you can, get it, utilize it, and then keep it pushing, keep it moving, because victory is on your side. We know that you can do it. We trust it. We've seen it before. Many, many people before you have had 10 times harder situations, have gone through all kinds of atrocities to be able to be victorious. And at the end, we're talking about them as legends. So let's not talk about you being a legend. Let's celebrate you being victorious. You got this. You could do this. There's nothing that you can't accomplish. With a little bit of help, we are all going to be winners. So let's get pushing, y'all. Let's get going. So, move around a little bit more. So, as we talk a little bit more about, let me address something that just came up just recently, just in the past 2 days. There was a TikTok warning on school violence all over the nation. TikTok. There's a vehicle of people utilizing these social media networks to share this information and or share with you their fear that someone would drop down to the lowest pillars of hell and bring up a behavior that would attack and or target our children. As some had said, there's a TikTok warning. It says, shoot up the school's day. And this apparently took place yesterday. America, you have to remember and understand that we are a culture, a gun culture, gun violence and sex culture. This is what turns America on if it was a living, breathing person. It turns it on, and it's also a vehicle of money, finance, power that America is addicted to. And the outcomes of the consequences of this addiction at times trickle over to our most vulnerable, our children, our elderly, our families. We have to do better to ensure that our children are protected. All over the nation, you saw many children absent from school yesterday, and maybe absent for the rest of the week, and or possibly next week until the parents feel comfortable. This is the same atmosphere where the children have been made to or mandated to wear masks on their face. Some of them have had to eat their lunch, those who could eat lunch, away from a cafeteria and on their desk in their classes and not allowed to exit these classes. This is a hardship that a lot of these kids are going through, let alone having to be concerned of some individual who's a couple sandwiches short of a picnic and targeting children. Appreciate that, Naldi. Naldi, you are a blessing, bro. You know, you and I, we go back, and I'm proud of you, man. Just keep on pushing and being the best example of a good man that you are, man. I'm proud of you too. Thank you. Got mad love for you. Back to what I was saying as far as the gun violence situation, the culture of America is one of guns as well. We have to be very conscious of how there's a consequence of guns, the access of guns. New Jersey is right now proposing multiple bills to make it a little harder for gun owners to be able to continue to go on. Assembly has it, and the state Senate also has these bills. The discussion is, the fear is, the gun owners feel that, are you now congesting ownership, even more so making it harder for gun owners to continue to go on? Some of the elements are just things that are just credible things to think about. If you have bought a gun somewhere else and got a license somewhere else, what would be the requirements to be you to be a licensed gun owner in New Jersey? Or do you accept the licenses somewhere else and you can just continue going on? Then being able to renew, the cycle of renewal. Will it continue on being the way it is, or will less time be required? Wise, like instead of it being yearly, it'll be every 6 months. You'd have to renew your license and submit information to suggest that you do so. Some of the assembly bills or the bills in the Senate are also suggesting that teaching lessons wise, some safety components have to be required for them to be licensed. And in general, as always, the wild, wild west that America is wants no parts of regulation, wants no parts of someone telling me what I need to do with my gun. Keep your hands off my gun. That's what America usually says until the time comes when someone's put their hands on your children. America, you have to wake the hell up and get out this crack dream that this is not the wild, wild west anymore. Although our behaviors signify, and we see it so often, that we are not too far away from where we were once before, when people think no less of you and I, our lives, and being able to pull out a weapon or a gun and execute death upon us at the smallest little reason. They think it's okay. Then an animosity behind this school shooting concept. They're targeting our children. What kind of sick, perverse individuals out here thinking it's okay to kill children? Back in the day, there used to be a code. Used to be a code in the streets. You don't mess around with people's families, and definitely don't mess around with people's children. And that was understood amongst people who understood the need for a code. Now in America and society all over the world, our continued need for bloodshed and our continued animosity for the biggest and smallest reasons also. We continue to become vehicles of violence. And this school shooting concept is just a reminder, y'all. You can't rely on someone else providing safety to your children or to your family, when in essence, you can be the providers of safety. I've been a proponent now for at least a little bit over 4 years now, gun advocacy. I am not comfortable with guns. However, I know the necessity, and I see the necessity. And I think it's extremely important that people register to own a gun. And if you can't afford to get it, get yourself a gun. Get the safety classes that you need to learn how to handle a gun. Learn how to maintain it in a safe environment to ensure that no one has access to the gun but you do, because you were trained to do so. Okay? I think, in my opinion, that could offer you a couple freedoms. Gun owners are treated a little differently than non-gun owners, even those of color in America. There's a sort of camaraderie amongst armed people that is shared here in America that can afford you a little more leisure and liberty in America that most of us don't enjoy at all. That's one aspect. The other aspect is, if there's an idle threat that you can bring equal violence and or equal power towards the next person, maybe they'll back off you and allow you to live without the fear of threat, fear of animosity. There's a certain understanding, like they say, good fences or high fences make good neighbors. It's a deliberate envision or a deliberate wall that's respected between both parties, knowing that once you cross that line, the ultimate could possibly happen. The ultimate risk is losing your life if you do so. But if we're all armed with this, do you think possibly that we could be more likely to have a better relationship with one or the other? What's crazy is that persons promoting school shootings aren't really the ones doing it. They're just a vessel to plant a seed in some unsuspecting vulnerable individuals. Exactly, Naldi. Exactly. That's one of the kind of things that I wanted to talk about, and I appreciate you helping me with the segue. Um, Traditions speak of how, when it comes to military conversation, the elders are those that strategize, while the field warriors are those that execute the plans. Well, if this is a national threat, know that this was done by possibly the biggest cowards on the planet because they talked about harming our children. They were waiting for someone else to be field generals, to execute this plan, to promote animosity, to create chaos, to light that flame of hate that they're needing as an excuse for them to do what they've been wanting to do. That perverse ideology, that perverse want and desire that most of them have had for so long, to eliminate or eradicate those who don't look like they do. This is that impetus that could be stirring around and been waiting for it to be ignited, executed upon the world. Be careful. Don't let any of this stuff incite hate in your hearts. Whoever these punk ass people out here that are targeting their children, trust me, these cowards won't ever show their faces to the general population, because even the most small, brittle woman of color out here would whoop that ass, and we would stand idly by with her, watching her whip that ass, daring anyone to step in the ring to prevent her from whooping that ass. Anyone. Don't get it fucked up. We will protect our children. We will do what we need to protect our children. And the fact that you are targeting our children just turns it up a little bit more, how it's time for us to keep the same energy. At one time, our traditions were always to turn the cheek, to be the better man, to show a verbal love, a more agape love, while everyone else executed harm upon us, while people executed hate upon us in a more violent way. And we've allowed a lot of this stuff to continue. Well, I say maybe it's time for us to tighten up a little bit more. Maybe it's time for us to look at things in a more realistic present day fashion. I'm not promoting violence whatsoever, but I'm promoting being prepared to be equally violent with anyone who's willing to be violent with you and yours. I am promoting keeping that same energy. I'm telling you out there, if you're a peaceful person and you're seeing people all over who are peaceful, keep that same energy. Be peaceful, be loving, be caring, be of concern. Show camaraderie, show some blessing. Going out there, pray and eat, break bread, be wonderful with one another. But if by chance you run into someone who is less deserving of that, who's treating you in a more vitriolic, dangerous way, then prepare to square up, asking them questions. Face or gut? Where do you want it? Because if you come my way, that's the only options you'll have. Face or gut. The reality is violence begets violence. And if we're allowing this violent nature and this violent stream to continue to take us out of our peaceful way in our homes, then we are aiding and abetting in this crime. Don't be fearful. Don't even give it the fodder of the next threat of a school shooting. Because know and affect change. And how do we affect change? By squaring up and protecting our children. Fathers, whether you want it or not, go walk them babies to school. Mothers, be by their side. Donate your time. Volunteer at the schools. Do what you can to be part of that fabric that schools are supposed to have and be and afford our children. which is more surrounding nature, for them to be filled with signs of encouragement so they can learn and prosper. And then create that wall if necessary. So if anyone dares to cross that line, they'll be faced with 20 people willing to go and do whatever's necessary to save the lives of these children, protect these teachers, and one another, because we're not having it. No longer are we going to let these pimple-faced, wannabe tough guys, these guys who are all over the internet and talking shit, some of these old people who've just been festering with a bunch of deceit and hate inside their hearts, and talking to these young and manipulating young people to execute these harmful things upon others. Let's get at them. Let's keep the same energy, y'all. Keep the same energy. And again, I'm going to say, if people are showing you love, love is what you should give them. If they're showing you respect, respect them. If they're giving you some acknowledgement that you deserve to be acknowledged, then acknowledge them. But if they cross that threshold, they step over that line and give you an energy that's not positive, it's not loving, then hit that switch and give them the same energy in return. Give them the same energy. Because that's the term that we're using nowadays. Keeping the same energy. And I tell everybody, I proudly say, I'm going to keep the energy, the same energy from now on. You show love my way, you're going to get nothing but more love. But if you act kind of wrong, trust me, I can turn the face and I'll be another individual that you've never seen before, because I have to. And the only cause of it is because you caused it. You made it happen. Let's keep the energy. All right, so moving forward, keeping energy, sending love to Laurel, our in-house family. Hopefully you're okay. Sleep well. Let me know how the coquito, if you enjoyed it or not. So as we going on, the big discussion when it comes to school shootings, I'm going to say this in closing. I'm not going to give it any more energy than it deserves. Just be very conscious. Don't do what we've seen too often, parents. Don't open the door and let your children come out. Go out of their homes and just freely walk upon the city to go to their schools because you think it's more important for you to do whatever you were doing at that time. If they have to walk to school, walk them to school. Take some time, walk them to school. Do what you need to do to be there. The presence inside, and many times the presence of parents there can be the deflecting energy to keep and protect their kids from any of the harm's way. Because one thing is for certain, anything that's done in the dark fails when it's shown in the light. Fails in the light. So expose them. The more you are exposed and showing the people how you're part of that fabric, the less likely these people are willing to execute any kind of animosity. And let's stay alert, y'all. Don't play it down. Don't say it's a joke, because at any time, any of this stuff can turn true. Let's just be very conscious about it. Let's be active. Register for a gun. If you can afford one, go get that gun. But more importantly, play a bigger role in the schools in your area, in your community, because they're praying for blood, preying on your children for their blood. They're preying on your children for sexual satisfaction. They're preying on your children. They're only allowed to prey on your children because you allow them to. You're giving them access. You're giving them the freedom to do so because you're trusting that someone else is going to do the overseeing that you're supposed to do. You're trusting that someone else is going to ensure that your children are safe just because someone wears a badge that sells security guard or a police officer that is detailed to the school. Can't be just them alone. You have to be a part of that same fabric. You have to also play a role into it. Okay? So do what you can in your schools. Register, volunteer, get your time together, and do what you need to do to play a bigger role in your schools. Then we won't hear this anymore. If we put that threat out there that you come for the kids and we're coming for you. And not only we coming for you, but everything that you love. So we're coming and we're bringing that same energy. You come for what I love, we're going to come for what you love. You and what you love. All right? Because that's the consequences. Touche. Right? When in Rome, be what? A Spartan. So another discussion that I know seems to be dwindling right now when it talks about children is concerned is the um, vaccination. The vaccination window was not long ago opened up to children also because doctors have seen how children were becoming susceptible to COVID. And at time, the first time, the very, very beginning, one of the things that we questioned was how can COVID affect adults and not children? And one of the responses that were made to us on the show and outside the show was children are more resilient. They'll bounce back and they'll recover a lot stronger because their organs seem to be a lot more refreshed, newer, because they haven't been used as long as we've used it. That it makes it easy for them to be able to recover. Naldi says we need more programs at ATPA that employ 14-year-olds all over the city to run youth camps and beaches, schools, parks, show us responsibility back then. Yeah, that's a tool to help integrate normal people in civic duties, also job opportunities. The JTPA program was a essential social welfare program that came in the 70s, and it died down and converted into these other programs that are now available right now. So those programs are essential, but there's a lot more needed like that and um, at a wider scope. So, but back to we talking about vaccinations. Our children are closer um, to receiving, I guess, a more specific type of vaccine than they did before. One of the things that we're offering them are just a portion of what a normal adult-sized vaccine dosage was, but we've seen where some errors have taken place and a child received a full dosage. Luckily, we've seen no deaths from an accidental overdosing. I ain't gonna say overdose, but getting receiving a dose that was um, designed for adults and given to a child. We haven't seen any deaths, but let's see how strong. Did it make them stronger? Did it help them develop an immune system that fully protects them from uh, the Delta variant and the Omicron? However, as we saw lately, Omicron doesn't seem to be affected by the vaccines, whether it's Pfizer and or Moderna or the AstraZeneca one or the Chinese version. I mean the Russian version. They call it the Sputnik. Um, those things still are affecting people a little differently, and they're still making. They're not taking or alleviating anyone from the threat of catching COVID-19. So um, let's just keep a conscious. Let's do a conscious effort to make sure that we stay in line. More information. As more information becomes available to us here in the new norm, we'll surely share. Um, yeah. Um, just seeing in the background is a lot of information how Omicron, the threat of Omicron, is starting to cause schools to shut down because of the threat. I know in this area, some of the private schools and some of the other public schools are shutting down because of the threat. Um, the threat also causes this. It's a chain of events that causes a lot of these schools and administrators to even consider shutting down. One of the threats is because if Omicron is found in a school, then there's a potential for all the children to have been susceptible to it. So the issue with that is being said is that they have to do a lot of tracing, contact tracing, what have you. And contact tracing is very difficult with people who don't want to comply. So with that being said, they have to do so aggressively that information has to be shared more rampantly, more aggressively, and more efficiently with the proper authorities to be able to encapsulate so it doesn't spread any further. Another part is being able to clean or strip the schools of the virus itself. The process at times, as you saw, some people may have seen, where you've seen people dressed up in white hazmat suits, usually it's a proper gear with the proper respiratory masks, and also utilizing chemicals to be able to spray on contact. Some of the chemicals you see it widely available on Walmart, Amazon. things that you can actually purchase and do for yourself in your home. They're aerated chemicals, usually a soft version of a bleach. So these factors also help out. Oddly enough, bleach is the main factor in trying to kill Ebola. So bleach is a very dangerous but very helpful chemical. So you might want to consider um, investing in some devices to help you in cleaning out the surface and the area that you live in from Omicron or the COVID-19 virus itself, because some of it is short-term air spreading, being able to travel in the air. So the schools are shutting down. So the amount of effort, the amount of money that it would cost to man that effort to clean schools may be a lot more than some budgets are able to handle. So to do so also requires for less access or exposure to children. So, in able to effectively clean the schools to protect the children, schools have to be empty. To do that, that means the kids are out of school, and it might take a day or two to do so, depending on the workforce. So, it's a process. So, it's not just the fear, the potential of it, but it's the proponent or the execution of being responsible as school administrators of things that they needed to do. So we're not just targeting the children's safety, we're targeting the teacher safety. And in a lot of cases nowadays, because some administrators or some boards or councils that oversee school policy are not being aggressive in their protection of the staff and or students, so these teachers are chosen not to return to their posts, not to teach. And then there's no access for substitute teachers because some of them are not available and or they spread so wide that they can't man the schools the way they need to. And some of the administrators who can teach have to teach. And that's only for those that can. So that's a big jumble. Uh, it's a big pile of red tape and animosities and things that need to be happening to occur that take away from the framework of education of kids. So try not to be upset with the school systems because it makes sense. Keep your kids at home. Make sure that the arena where everyone comes together, the actual edifice, the buildings that people come together are clean and stripped away from the virus. So when they're able to return, it's not the building that's causing these children to be sick. It might be the children itself. In essence, in doing so, also gives an opportunity for contact tracing. So parents, if you have a child who may have been susceptible or may have found to have it, try not to be in denial because half of the problem is some of you are in denial. Your kids just saying, "Oh, it's just a cold. Oh, it's just this. It's that's asthma, and so on and so forth." You're not certain until you go get them checked. When you go get them checked, you get a more exact answer, and you can feel better about it, and not just a roundabout answer. And you're just guessing or trying to bounce around the potential threat of it being reality. Because if a child has COVID-19, they could survive it. It's a better chance for a kid to survive it than an adult does. But if they don't know and then you downplay it, the small little things that you call remedies could be just inflaming the symptoms that each one of us have to go through. And in doing so also spreads to other people, which make their symptoms even harder for them to do. You never know what one person, how their immune system affects, how their immune system is able to defend themselves from any virus coming in. There could be some children out here who don't have the immune system that your child does, not able to defend themselves the way your child is able to. So don't put them at risk. So if there's a threat in the area, don't feel bad about having to keep your kid at home. That's the reason why we have sick days. That's why you have personal space days, as some may suggest it. And these are the best times to be able to utilize it. So it's just a consideration that you need to have moving forward. Children are in that scope, that threat. So make sure, take care of them, do what you can. Make sure, wear masks. Make sure that they're clean, their hands are clean. Make sure they have wipes, not just towels with moisture on it, but actual wipes that have an alcohol base to it or some other substance in it that helps to eradicate and kill germs on contact. And also, a little can of Lysol can help go a long way as well, as long as it doesn't get ingested in your mouth or in your eyes or any other orifice, and you'll be good. So let's see what we can do. It is now 11:15 p.m. and we were Only going to go about 2 hours today, and from now on, because of staffing. My co-host won't be able to stay with us longer than 12 o'clock midnight. And I told him, I said, it's no problem. Because we've been talking about seeing what we can do to shave down our time on each show. Because I guess in my personal opinion, when those can jump on, they do jump on and they're able to share information. But not many people can stay for the entire duration of 3 hours. So if we have a conversation that's lingering and lingering, you may want to stay, but you just may not be able to give us or afford us the time for you to be able to stay. So with that being said, and concerns about those things, we're going to probably try to shave down the time more and more so it's more digestible. And and it probably, possibly, potentially may give people a want and desire to watch more of the show more often because they need more than we're able to give at the time. So if we shave it down to 2 hours now, maybe the next time you see us may be down just to an hour. So either which way, it's a programming strategy that is being executed now. And know that we have the best of intentions to continue to being a conduit of good information, a conduit of good conversation, and a conduit of information for those about things that around you could benefit your life to make it so much better. We're going to keep on doing that because we are the new norm 2.0. I'm your boy Mo Delgado. And still to this day, as I've been saying for a long time, when it comes to anything else, just know my it says it there, right there, plain and simple. I am the sexiest man in this chair right now. There's no question about it. You can't deny it. Don't hate, celebrate. I am the sexiest man in this chair right now. But that's just for the comedic moment. I'm hoping everybody's well. And now is that we're 1 week away from the Christmas or the Christmas Eve spirit. And a lot of nations, those are Christian-based nations, are preparing to celebrate. In some, the most important day is Christmas Eve, like with us Boricuas or Puerto Ricans or Latinos in general. Christmas Eve is extremely important. And then Nochebuena, as we celebrate and bring together in faith what it means to us. Um, for us on the new norm, it's extremely important for us to continue to hold on traditions that we've had and to celebrate one another's traditions and who we are in our identities. My brother Adrian is a proud um, Trinidadian, and he expresses a lot of joy in when he speaks about his nation, his island nation, and he speaks about these things dealing with other island nations that may be attached in his heart to him. And that's a great thing because we try to be as supportive as we possibly can of each one of our nations or any other element that we represent because we see you, we acknowledge you, and we also give respects to you for who you are and what you bring to the world. And Trinidad is just an amazing country that I have yet to visit. Michelle, I know my friend Michelle has been telling me for years, you need to go visit. Offered her home and a family home for me and my family to visit. And maybe soon, as I'm closer to thinking of retirement or closer to getting to that age, maybe there'll be a place I can visit in my retirement. I don't know if I'm ready to retire to Trinidad, because I've never been, but I'd like to visit. Hopefully I can. Shout out to Charmaine Robinson, a local sister here who basically shows or promotes being able to travel during this pandemic and shows and expresses how it's not as difficult to travel. She gets these deals, these amazing deals, and she goes and finds these connections. So these deals make it happen. Just recently, I think she went to Mexico. And her going to Mexico, she traveled to and from Mexico and got a hotel. And I think she paid at the most maybe $150 for the entire trip. That's an amazing discount. That's an amazing bargain. And she seemed to have had a good time. And imagine during this pandemic, during this bad weather, if you can go someplace where the weather is wonderful and you can unwind with a nice cup of a nice tall glass of something cold and got some juice in it and some spike that you can sit back and relax for a couple of days, you think it'd be a great idea? Don't you think it'd be a great boost to you? Some of us are carrying such a large burden in life that it seems further and further from reality being able to escape and have a vacation. And we've been told and somewhat re-educated into this new staycation concept. And staycations are pretty cool, but it's not the same thing as traveling. If you're coming from a cold area that's kind of dark and suffering from seasonal depression to go into an area where the weather is fabulous, sunny, high 80s, 70s, nighttime is 70s, and people are festive, and there's lots of good music, lots of good food, and places to swim. I think that would be a hell of a boost to you and to your soul, as anyone would. So, if you can do it, do it. Go. Don't get fearful. Pandemic is real, but doesn't mean that it restricts you from experience life and all of its wonderful offerings. So I know she uses Priceline. She goes online and does stuff. She does an amazing stuff. So shout out again to Charmaine Robinson and making sure that you continue to travel. Trust me. Soon, we're hoping to be able to share our own experiences in our travels as well. Um, as we've said before in the show, we're looking to become more mobile in the show itself, do on-site telecasts. We can go live outside of the studio just about anywhere as long as we have plain view to a satellite. We can broadcast using the technology that we have. Um, and hopefully, as we've done quite a few times, we did partnering internationally, and we did broadcasting out of the Dominican Republic. We did broadcasting out of Miami. We did some broadcasting out of Orlando, out of Texas. We did some parent partnerships out of California and Washington, Seattle, Washington. These are the remote areas that connected with us and shared time on and was able to telecast and inform people of their regions and some of the topics that were being discussed, what information they brought to the table that was helpful to give us a broader understanding. So this is a wonderful thing. Puerto Rico is probably my next target. I'm waiting for some of the people that know the platform, know the program, and seeing if we can connect with them. So if we're here stuck wherever we are, we want them to get access to that part of the world. They're sharing with us their experiences. So, so folks, well, that offer is there available to anyone out there. If you are traveling, if anything, you want to give us a head up and let us know where you're going. And if you'd like to be a partner in the telecast of sharing your experience where you are, wherever it is that you intend to land, we welcome that opportunity. Please reach out to us. You can leave us a message through the website at www.thenewnorm.club, or you can reach me specifically at m.delgado212 at gmail. And you can leave me information, a heads up, and we can try to connect from there on, because it's extremely important that if we're able to do so, it may open up the windows and eyes to the person that might be feeling stifled and might feel congested, might feel trapped and is in dire need of some escape. Or this could be that opportunity, that crack in that window that can spread wide open so they can finally execute a bounce, a leave. Why not? Give them a chance. In addition to it, also gives me a scope to strategize, because if you're going to say the Seychelles, the islands, or another person's going to Greece, someone else is traveling to the motherland, going to Nairobi or Lagos, and you're sharing your experience and being able to visualize while you're there, show the world your experiences while you're there. It gives us a sense of inclusion also, because if I'm watching your experience there, I'm able to watch it also and put myself in your shoes. It might give it a better chance and a stronger desire to be able to go and visit to that same location. So maybe there's a chance for you to be paid or compensated through their travel board, wherever that destination could be, to help them promote that area. So in the Northeast, we're not feeling the best weather, but we're not suffering. However, there is some big weather coming, and we don't know how far it's going to go, but we'll see as it continues. Um, Let me see what else I wanted to share with you folks. If anyone were interested in participating by being part of the show, by being part of the telecast, just let me know on the side in the chat room, and then I'll send you the link, and then you can link up, and then you yourself can show your wonderful face up on the screen like my big head is right now. But still, as I said before, no matter that, I'm still sexiest man in this chair. Just wanted y'all to know. But let me talk a little bit about losing that loving feeling, y'all. Losing that loving feeling. I have um, the famous song by the Everly Brothers, singing in the back of my head. You lost that loving feeling. Uh, y'all, Generation X folks like myself, you can recall this, but anyone who's a millennial, anything Generation Z, you probably don't know what the hell I'm talking about. But it's playing in my head because I'm asking a question, and I want to pose this question to you. Trying to figure out why we seem to be losing that joy of the holidays. Why are we losing that joy of being festive? And I see this because it seems to be something that's being experienced by many people. And it's not just for the holidays. At one point in time, people dying to have a party, go partying, whatever. And earlier on, it was a benefit to many people. They enjoyed the party. However, the more they went to these parties, the less effective those parties became. So they needed more, something different. Their bodies were yearning for stronger spikes, higher spikes in adrenaline. They were looking for other opportunities and looking to separate from that gateway drug, which is that initial party, to doing something else that provides that excitement that they need. But I'm still posing that same question. Why are we losing that loving feeling? What is it about the holiday seasons? What is it about our present time that keeps us in the dark and in the gloom where we can't enjoy one another and enjoy some of the benefits that are true and exact in our lives, that we are devoid of acceptance, devoid of appreciation, and things that are so very evident, we are turning our heads and not even looking at it anymore. The ability to be alive, it's not as important to many people. It's like they're entitled. It's a sense of complacency that we have right now. They're like, so what? I'm alive. You call this a life? You know, it's sad. But the question is, it still remains, why are we losing that love and feeling? Why during the holidays, the times where we think we could be even more loving and caring, we seem to be going through a lot of woes. Now, the truth of the matter is that if you've lost someone, you're mourning. I understand there's loss. However, even in that loss, there's windows of opportunity for you to find some daylight, some sunshine to be able to love and accommodate love in your hearts for the people that love you, for the people that are around you, very supportive of you, who are waiting for a chance to see your smile. If you yourself allow yourself to keep being dug into this trench of pain, this trench of darkness and depression, you're not throwing out the life jacket or the life preserver to anyone outside to be able to pull you out of it, because we don't know. We're being pushed away. We're facing our own atrocities, our own hardships, our own discord and depression. So, what is that loving feeling that we're leaving behind, that we're losing, that we're being detached from? Why is it that we can't enjoy some of the smaller things in life? I walked into a Hobby Lobby the other day, and my wife and I were just talking, and I'm known to be, um, I'm fun loving. I try to create situations that are funny, that absorb people, include people, so they can enjoy themselves and feel good. I was being loud deliberately in Hobby Lobby, and I said, "What if we broke into a Christmas carol? How many do you think would jump in and sing along with me? How many people do you think would be bold enough to come out and sing the song with me?" So my wife sometimes, usually she's against it. You know, she's kind of conservative. She doesn't want to stand out that way. But this time she was like, "All right, come on, let's sing. Let's do it. I dare you." So I started to think of a song that may be known without people digging into their phones, pulling out their phones to Google it. And I started singing, Deck the Halls. Okay, not everyone knows the words, but I started to do that. And then something that I saw that was really awesome is I saw a smile on an elderly woman that was working there. A retired lady who needed this job, needs to work at this job, seemed to be working there extremely long pit hours. She was able to crack a smile. And for that moment, with just enough sunshine in her dark day, That is what brought some joy in my heart. And every once in a while, being able to be goofy around, it's a great thing. So, say you're in an arena where people are uncomfortable, you think it's tense. If you break into song, I think people would be, first off, you have some individuals be like, who the hell is this crazy ass person being loud and singing a song? But immediately after that, they would drop their defense mechanisms and feel and absorb the love that you're sharing. And if it's a great song, they're going to join in with you. So we're asking, what happened to the love? Well, how about how can I help to try to implant or replace the love with some love? What can I do? So maybe our children need to learn a little bit more about how to love, in ways to love. And I'm not talking about that physical love, you deviants out there that's causing all kinds of chaos and heartbreak in the world. No, no, no. The ethereal love, the love that you feel, is that overwhelming sense of God inside you, that everything feels good, that everything is good is in you, it's emanating out of you into the world around you, impacting those, putting smiles on people's faces. It's deteriorating scowls and putting smiles on their faces. It's helping to put a pep in a step, a hope in hopeless people. It's helping to destroy desperation in someone, giving them some excitement and some encouragement and some focus in their life by a small thing as a song, a silly childhood song. If you want to sing Jingle Bells, do it. If you want to sing Deck the Halls, do it. You want to sing Silent Night, do it. You want to sing Merry Christmas in Queens by Run DMC, do it. I think it's the small things like that are innocent that could actually spread a lot more joy than we thought we could. If you have some song in your heart, spread it. Just recently on the internet, I've seen a big development of individuals taking on challenge called Can We Talk Challenge. Can We Talk was a very popular song by Tevin Campbell. It was the protege of Michael Jackson, who took upon a song as he was in his early adult years. I think he was 18 when he made that song. Can We Talk? And it's a really nice song. To me, it's an innocent song, but it also promotes how um, a young man wants to entertain opportunities and entertain a moment to get to know this young lady by introducing himself in Can We Talk? You know, so it was a challenge posted by an R&B artist by the name of Tank. Sang a song. He says those who really sing won't need any kind of robotics, no instrumentation, nothing behind it. You can just sing the song, and all you got to do is sing the verse. The verse is very simple. Can we talk? Um, I want to know your name. Um, and that created a big chain of events going back and forth. And more people were starting to sing that song. And I thought to myself, that was such a simple thing, but it actually showed a lot of love because what it also did is promoted comedians to be funny in their rendition, average people to sing the way they thought they wanted to, and some really great singers who don't get the focus and opportunity for them to sing also. So the Can We Talk Challenge is like a snowball growing, a snowball of love and simplicity because all of this is voice and people are singing it different. I saw Pastor John Gray come up there and sing his version. He saw, you know, Can We Talk? He says, I want to hear your name. And he's speaking about Jesus in his version. Beautiful, beautiful. But they were singing. I think it's time for us to share a song in our hearts. And maybe, just maybe, that'll be just enough to start spreading some love. And then maybe we could all blossom and enjoy the love that we shared. And then we can actually feel comfortable that there is love in the world. Sending a big shout out to my man Sandy. Sandy, yo, if you can come into this area, bro, I got a nice big bottle of coquito for you. But if not, I ain't shipping it no more like I used to. I've shipped it before, and people have jerked me. And not to say that you would, because I know you would never. That's my brother. But I've seen it shipped, and the bottles have broken. And I want to make sure that if it's love I'm sharing, I want to make sure you get it. So contact me. You know my number. Interested with coquito. You know how we rock. Just give you a little insight, as I said before, telling folks what we be doing also. I don't know if you can see it, but this is just one of the things that we're also working on. This is a really nice bracelet. As you can see, the dragons. Let me see if the camera will work. I don't know if it's going to bring any focus, but I guess I'll bring it back. Um, Golden dragons. This is good luck for Asian New Year. This is a bracelet that we made that'll be available really, really soon. Of course, with the Earth, the dragons protecting you and bringing good fortune. For those who are with the high end flavor, with the Gucci feel to it, you got traditional colors, got the extra bling to it, got dragons. So you got that. And if anybody who's interested in the more traditional, um, the Tiffany look, you know, you got nice little Tiffany scents over here. I don't know if you can see the colors. Saying serving it no proper, but anybody's into Tiffany, you got bracelets like this with extra bling and nice flair that way. And that's just a couple different renditions of bracelets that we're making, and we're selling and making it available. Also, nice crystallization if anybody likes a rose, beautiful rosé look with actual flowers inside. Really pretty bracelets that you should be able to see it on Instagram and on Facebook as we promote it. This was a product, something that someone requested of me. Um, it was a customization that was promoted. That hopefully, if he go with it, then I'll make sure he gets to it. But this is beautiful crystallized rocks, and some of them are gems, some are precious, non-precious stones. Um, Try not to use any plastic at all. We want to make sure we give value onto the world. But if you want pretty things in your life, we're trying to promote and help pretty things that come into your life. If you're interested in any of those, please contact me. Or if you're interested in having your own version of it, because we're making chains and necklaces and things like this. And this is, to promote wellness and, I guess, more prosperity in your life. Everything is based off the image or numerology of 3, 5, and 8 being luck and prosperity in your lives. 8, of course, is the symbol of infinity, something that we try to promote also. To be infinitely available in your life is prosperity and health. So if you're interested, let me know. Colorization, you're going to see plenty of pictures. I've got beads galore. I've got all kinds, semi-precious, precious beads, some glass, some crystal, and we make it to be strong and handmade, nothing fabricated somewhere else. It's all made by our hands, specifically mine, and in various colors here and there. So if you're interested, please let us know. And then, we greatly support. Uh, we're very supportive of local business and very supportive of others. And we're just hoping that the same kind of love can be trickled back on this way. So, as we're now at 11:30, hour and a half into our time frame, I think because the discussions seem to have uh, watered out, my man Adrian won't be able to come on the show today. He's not coming on. I guess we'll close out a little bit more for this evening and tell you thank you for coming on. For those that were able to share a message or two, we appreciate anyone who spends this time hoping to get some information and some inspiration, because it's extremely important that we inspire one another. And as we move forward, understand that, we're all in this together. We know that life is not easy. However, it's not the end of the world. Armageddon is amongst us, but it's not the end of the world. Armageddon, in essence, means the end of all things as we know. And because COVID-19 has hit us the way it has, we've had to adapt and change our ways of life. It is exactly what it is. It's Armageddon. It just means that we've had to hit the reset button. So now, as we're resetting, realign your life and your views and your passion and your actions towards what you want in life. Don't let it any longer be an excuse for you not to move forward. Just do what you need to do. Feed your heart, feed your pockets, feed your body, feed your opportunities in the future by putting some action. Getting yourself out there. And if there's something that we can help you and assist you by putting you in line, we've always been a conduit for it. My brother Adrian's always offered himself to the general population for help and assistance in financial matters dealing with realty, real estate, and or mortgages and other topics. Like I said, he's a big toolbox of help. My man has a lot of information, a lot of experience that he shares freely with the world. And if there's anything I can assist you with, again, I'm Mo Delgado. I'm the host. This is the New Norm 2.0. We appreciate this opportunity to spend some time with you. We're hoping that your month is going on really well. We're hoping that you don't feel the crunch to need to get the most expensive items for your loved ones to express to them how much you love and care for them. Never fall into that gate. Never fall into that whole idea, the trappings that the value of something that you buy equals the value of what you love someone. It's the sacrifice. It is the person in the sacrifice. It's not the value of the thing. So treasure the lives that you have around you. Treasure the time you're able to spend to them. Because if they're spending time elsewhere, then that means something else is more important to them. So you become that treasure that you are because you've always been that treasure. Take that time and enjoy yourselves. Make more time for one another. Use it for what it is. Tomorrow's not promised. So, folks, in my closing, I just encourage everyone to do what you can for the holidays. Get yourselves together. Make sure that you can is read something that's impressionable on you. Get some motivation. We're not promoting of any one faith, but faith is a wonderful thing to have. If you can find some way, somewhere where you feel a home, find your home and then be able to promote it. If it helps you align your views, your morals, and everything so you can function in life a lot easier, and it won't promote any hate in you or any kind of chaos or negativity upon your life, then I think it's a good thing, and then we support it. Find those things, those little elements in life that help put these pieces together so you can build a better life for yourself and the loved ones that you have around you. The new norm is facing now the closing of this year, which will successfully mean we're almost at a 2 year mark. Our 2 year mark is in February. But we're considering a lot of changes to this platform, a lot of changes to the show itself, and how we move forward. Because ultimately, we don't want to be something that is devalued. As the new year comes about, we are going to go strong and go hard for a while, knowing that this is a full fledged media business that we have, a media source. In addition to the media, how we promote media and how we execute gathering media and sharing media is a little different from everyone else, but that's what makes us ideally an individual company, uh, an authentic company that doesn't emulate someone else. So, hopefully you and you can play a greater part and continue to be a part of our community and our family here at the New Norm 2.0. And again, as I say, to highlight, I want everyone to take a chance, if you can, go visit our website at www.thenewnorm.club, where you can get some information through our archives, our web-based internet mall. You can get the archive shows. You can see clips or links that you can go to see our different shows. Every show has been recorded, and it's available through that website. In addition to, there's information from entrepreneurs that came on and spoke about their services, their businesses, and products that they offer to the world for purchase and or contract, and also the experiences that they've had as entrepreneurs, what they've had to take and how they've had to sacrifice, the hardships they've had, and the lessons they've learned imparted on you, so you can prosper and grow and be a bigger and better company as well. So that's what we continue to do. So in addition to now the latest venture that Adrian has also had, which is entertaining a internet-based radio company or radio stations, multiple, because he has an old school R&B and hip hop radio station, as he does soca, reggae, soca, and I think some Spanish music also, which is bachata, salsa, um, cumbia, and things like this. So I think there's some elements of that, but you'll have access to those websites also. If you come on the newnorm.club's website, just look for the link, click onto it, and enjoy the music. And always, please make sure if you show some appreciation by uh, share, and comment, and subscribe. Not only here on YouTube and or Facebook, but any other platform that you see our media and our content. And if you like our content enough, just show us a little love. Let us know that you got some love for us, like we got love for you. And as you go on, as more and more people might be interested in, I also encourage anyone who's able to, if you can show a little love, we appreciate if you visit our Patreon page to see if you are willing and you're able to. You can go there, going to www.patreon.com / the new norm with Mo Delgado. And then check us out there. There's offerings up down to $5 one shot or continuous basis, a small increment, something that you can help us and assist. In addition to, we say we can offer you opportunities to um, sponsor or be part of advertisement through this website or through our, not only through the show itself, but through our website and any other media that we have. So in the future, you'll see a lot of changes in the way we do business and how we do business. But one thing won't change is our continuous love for you and everyone else in the world, and hoping that we can be part of the better portion of your lives and what we can do to help promote those better portions of your life. So we greatly appreciate. And again, I'd like to close out by saying, please take care of yourselves. And until next week, I wish you the best. And as next week is Christmas Eve, I'm hoping that the Christmas spirit fills you and the goodness of the Christmas spirit, because it has very little to do with Christ. Um, the feeling has very little to do with the religion. It is more so about the humanity and the love that we have. It's all God given. And it's not to take away or disrespect Christians of anything. No, I just wanted to include everyone in this whole nine, make sure I don't exclude anyone. As the holiday season goes on, Christmas Eve comes on, please hold on to the people that you love. Tell them you love them. Share the time and enjoy the gifts that is time. So until next time, please stay positive and test negative. Y'all be blessed, y'all.